Alrighty, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all who have joined. We're used to doing this as an in-person seminar here at the Accelerator building where our LSEO office is located. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic and COVID reasons, we can't hold those right now. So we're coming to you digitally to provide you with the same type of webinars and seminars that we would hold in person. So again, we wanted to thank you for joining us today. And this webinar that I'm going to go over with you today is primarily focused around local SEO. And we're going to give you an 8-point checklist for immediate SEO success. So let's jump right in. Just a little bit about me. I'm Kozie. I'm the Vice President of Search here at LSEO. I've graduated from Penn State in 2015 with a bachelor's degree in marketing. I have over 5 years of digital marketing experience, primarily in SEO, but I also have a background in PPC and web development. I do hone some skills there. And just a little bit more about my background in SEO and the type of clients I've worked with. I've developed strategic strategies for clients that produced over $1 million in organic revenue. And I'm talking about clients there like JanSport, Calvin Klein, Reef.com, who they have those cool sandals with a bottle opener on them. And not only have I worked on those large client accounts, but I've also developed strategies for many local businesses all the way down to mom and pop shops here in Wilkes-Barre and other states throughout the United States. So let's jump right in. So the first point I wanted to touch on this 8-point local SEO checklist is making sure that you have your local listings optimized. I'm primarily talking here about Google My Business and Bing Places. These are the two largest search engines outside of YouTube, which really holds the second place. But from a straight search standpoint, I wanted to focus and hone in here on Google and Bing. So making sure that you have these created for your business and up to date will help you showing and populating in the local map app. And if you noticed when you search a lot of things on Google today, that most organic searches populate the local map pack because Google is trying to do their best to provide you with the best results. And we know a lot of things, whether you're searching for food or maybe even a plumber, Google's gonna be smart enough to give you those businesses that are close to you as long as you have these set up for your type of business. You need to create and continuously maintain these, and I'm going to talk about some of the features that both of these profiles allow you to do and optimize for. But like I said, if optimized correctly, this is going to help your business show up at the top of more different searches and especially tie in that local intent. So just a few tips for optimization. One is just making sure that you create and verify your listings. I'm talking both Google and Bing, and you have to make sure it's up to date with the correct business information. So obviously your name, your address, your phone number, and then also add some photos either to the inside or outside of your building. And again, that's going to be crucial for both Google and Bing. The second thing is to make sure you add a business description. Give the user a little bit about your business, what kind of services you offer, what you do, and what sets you apart from some of the other competition that might be showing in the local map pack. And then obviously a big thing is what we do when we all shop for physical items, even if we're thinking about like on Amazon or another e-commerce website, is we look to reviews to see a little bit more about the product and how people are satisfied with it or unsatisfied. So leverage reviews from clients or customers. That way you could gain sort of trust with other users to see that other people are saying good things about your business. That's going to go a long way in building trust and getting them to convert with either coming to your website and filling out a form or even just clicking the call button right from your Google My Business or Bing Places profile. And then the last thing is, again, I said, always keep them up to date. Maybe you add a service, make sure you change the description a little bit to tell users a little bit more about the new service that you're offering. or even posts. So Google primarily now, not Bing. This just ties into the Google part of it, but Google now allows you to add posts and offers to your Google My Business profile. So maybe you create a new blog post about information relating to your business or the type of business that you're in, and you want to share that out to the world because more eyes are likely to see your local listing rather than your website, because like I said, most searches nowadays are populating the local map pack. So you're going to want to make sure that you're adding those offers, sharing your latest content, or again, maybe you sell something or you provide a service and you have, let's say, 25% off, or you could give something free in the beginning. You could put that on your Google My Business profile from this post and offer section, and it's more likely to create a conversion than just not taking advantage of it at all. The second tip, or the second part of this 8-point checklist, is making sure you have a consistent NAP. And what NAP stands for is name, address, and phone number. So just like we talked about with your Google My Business and your Bing Places profiles, this ties into that a little bit. But just across any directory or citation that you use, like Google, Bing, Yelp, Facebook, I have the examples of the logos there, but there's thousands of them that you could get your business listed on. You just want to make sure that all of that information across all of those different websites, again, your citations, even your social media platforms, you just want to make sure all of that is consistent, because Google does crawl a lot of these websites and they want to make sure that what you're giving them on your Google My Business profile and even on your Bing, when we talk about Bing and what you give Bing on the Bing Places profile, they just want to make sure that that information matches across all different websites. That way they could trust your business and they could populate you higher on some of those map searches. So giving Google and Bing and all of those other citations just trust that they could trust your business, all the information is correct. That's going to give them that tick of confidence that they could put you at the top of some of those local map packs in the searches. So the tip there, just make sure whatever citations or business listing websites that you use, just make sure that all of that information, it just kind of coincides with all of it and matches across all the different platforms, because that's going to help you populate higher. Tip number 3 here is get a Search Console and Bing Webmaster Tools. So again, I talked about Google My Business and Bing Places. This is the SEO tools pertaining to Google and Bing. So Google has Google Search Console, Bing has Bing Webmaster Tools. And what both of these are here to do, again, they're completely free tools, but they're here to help you optimize your website and get you showing higher in searches so they could crawl and index your website. This is basically 2 free tools that helps you submit your website to 2 of the top search engines. They're going to then crawl your website, crawl the pages that you want them to rank and index, and then show users. So if you don't have these already set up, or just one or the other set up, I would recommend getting both of these set up. And some of the sections we like to use once you have them set up and verified is the sitemaps is the first section I want to go to. That is giving you the ability to submit your sitemap to both Google and Bing. And like I said, that's what they use to crawl your website, and that's what they use to crawl your pages, see what they're optimized for, what keywords they should be showing your pages for, and then getting them in front of users. And then the second part is search results. So both have performance tied into both of these tools, and that's where this box at the bottom comes in. This is a little snippet just from our Google Search Console, but it'll allow you to look at keywords and also pages if you want to filter that way. But it'll tell you things like how many clicks you're getting, how many impressions, and what's the click-through rate, and what's the average position of these terms. And like I said, you could also do that for pages. So a way to pick apart this data, and just as an example, is if you look at some of these, I like some of these click-through rates I'm seeing, 22%, 11%, 2%. Anything over 1 is really a good click-through rate based on how many times someone's seeing it. But this one here at the bottom, as an example, and this is a keyword we rank for, Instagram marketing agency, I could see that 5,367 people saw this, saw our listing for this term, but it was only a click-through rate of 0.5%. I would like to get that closer to a 1, 2, or even 10 if we could, just like the YouTube or our brand name. That's going to get us more clicks and into those 100 click range based on how many people are seeing it. So that's how I like to pick apart the data in some of these, is just seeing how keywords or pages are performing. And what that indicates to me is, okay, I need to go see what page is ranking for Instagram marketing agency, and we may need to change the title tag, the description, or maybe even the on-page content to see how we could get people to click through to that page even more. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on the Bing side of things is Bing just updated their webmaster tools, and they now have this thing called URL submission. So this allows you to actually physically submit URLs to be indexed by Bing. So let's say your sitemap's not doing it, and you see that from some of the search performance or the indexation under search performance, and you want to force Bing to try and index your pages. I would take every page on your website. I think you have 1,000 limit per day on there, but you only have to do it once if you don't have over 1,000 pages, obviously. But I would copy every URL from your website and physically submit it in Bing. And again, that's an easy way to go about getting your pages indexed in another top search engine outside of Google. So again, free tool, why not take advantage of it? All right, the fourth thing I wanted to talk about in this checklist is an optimized user experience. So I'm particularly talking about mobile, but it's important on both mobile and desktop. You want to make sure that your site's mobile friendly, because Google does use a mobile first index now. That's how they rank your site, how it performs on a mobile device. Can people see it on their iPhones or their Androids? Is it responsive? Can they scroll? Can they click? That's the first part of that, making sure that your site is mobile friendly. But then the other parts of that is just making sure that it's set up properly and users can flow to your most important pages from your navigation. So you can see here, just having that hierarchy. So when you click our drop down from our homepage, you'll see we have SEO services, our paid media services, our web design services. And then when you click one of those, it goes further into the different types of SEO services. So laying it out that way, sort of like a hierarchy, that's going to give Google an idea of what your main pages are and what's prioritized. Obviously, we want people to find us on SEO services. And then the layer under that is getting more granular. We also want users to find us on consulting services, audits, technical SEO, local SEO, etc. So having your site set up that way with a proper hierarchy and something that Google and users could follow is really important. And then the last piece of the user experience I wanted to touch on is just making sure that it's set up for conversions. You could see from our mobile site, if you hit get started, that'll take you to a contact form. That way we could get users who are interested information or further information about them, their name, their URL or their website, and their email, so we can reach out to them. And then also you can see a cool new feature we have on our website at the bottom. There is a chat bot. More websites are moving in that direction or towards chat bots, because it's an easy way for people to reach out to you or interact with you, and that should send them right to a chat where you could start interacting with them and just learn a little bit more about their business. So take user experience into consideration when you're developing your website, or maybe you just need to revamp it a little bit, but setting it up that it's mobile friendly, having it laid out properly and structurally, and then just making sure it's optimized for conversions is going to go a long way in helping you grow your business, because as you get more traffic, and if you have it laid out properly and give them the chance to convert, that's how you're going to grow your business, because conversions mean everything. All right, the fifth point in this checklist is optimize meta tags. So we have so many clients that come to us with this issue, and they don't even know it's an issue. We actually find it for them and point it out. But you can see there at the bottom, most clients come to us with unoptimized title tags and descriptions. They'll come to us where it just simply their homepage says home, and your homepage is your most important page on your website. So why not take that opportunity to use a keyword that has search volume that people look for monthly, and help Google, Bing, and all the other search engines understand what your website is or what type of services you offer. It's so important. It's SEO 101, and it's something you should immediately start with after you have a website built, is just making sure that your title tags and your descriptions are optimized with the correct keywords. And you could see from the examples I shared here, this is an example from our SEO services page, and then also our local SEO services page. So you can see at the front, we have the keyword that we want to go after. That not only tells Google what to rank our site for, but it helps the user understand, all right, this page is about LSEO's SEO services. The second page is about their local SEO services. And like I said, that also tells Google what they should rank these pages for. And then you could use some sort of separator like a pipe or a dash to add a secondary keyword into the title tag if you could fit it. Typically, there are length constraints to titles and descriptions. The title should be about 63 characters or less, just so it doesn't get cut off. And then the description, Google gives a best practice of about 150 to 160 characters, but now on mobile devices, you are going to see stuff get truncated in the description because they are cutting more and more off. You could see there from our examples, but still making sure that you have a unique title tag and a unique description is super important, because you need to optimize for those keywords. So you could see here, like I said, use that separator and add two keywords. For instance, our SEO services page, our main keyword we want to go after there is SEO services, obviously. But then the second keyword we went after here is best SEO agency, because people are searching that as well. Same for our local SEO services. Main keyword we want to go after, local SEO services. Secondary keyword, local SEO software. We could help run their sites through software and making sure that they get the proper citation set up, optimize, make sure that the name, address, phone number, which I already touched on, is optimized and matches across many different websites. So that's just an example of how we write title tags, but the main takeaway here is just making sure that you do optimize your title tags and descriptions, and don't let them just say home, because it's a lost opportunity to go after keywords that tie into your business and how people actually look for your business. All right, so the sixth point here that I wanted to go over is just making sure you have more local and regional pages. This is a strategy we started implementing for many of our local clients, and I'll just tell you it works wonders. So outside of everything we already touched on, again, the first thing you want to try and do is make sure your titles and description are optimized, but then how do you go after more local customers or more local clients? And that's just to create more pages for other areas that you would take clients or customers from. So this example comes from one of our clients, Heller's Gas. Many of you may know of who they are. But we implemented this strategy, and we are continuing to grow their traffic in the Northeast PA area by optimizing for this strategy. So like I said, they have certain locations in Bloomsburg, Berwick, 8 different locations, but they also will take clients from surrounding areas or cities like Lewisburg, the Back Mountain, Mifflintown, Carlisle, Lake Ariel, pardon me. But they will take customers from these areas, and they will drive out there. They'll deliver your gas to these areas. So why not take advantage of it? Because there may be somebody in that town searching for propane delivery or natural gas delivery, and creating pages like this that optimize or target those specific cities. Because just for example, if we just had, let's say, a Berwick page for Heller's Gas, someone searching in Bloomsburg or another surrounding area may not be able to see Heller's Gas populate on their search, because Google doesn't know that they also service that area, or just may not associate that business with that area. So having pages like this to let users know that, hey, we also service this area, it goes a long way, and it will help you populate in more local searches. And again, if some people don't use the map pack to find businesses, like we talked about in the beginning, they'll go straight to the organic results, and this is a good way to populate at the top of organic results. Seventh point in this checklist kind of ties into the 6th point, but outside of just the local content, you need to have also good supporting content in the form of blog posts or news articles, and that's a good way to build internal authority. So the same way I talked about laying out your website so it's structurally set up properly and could easily be followed by not only search engines but users, is to build some internal authority with blog posts. Again, this is a good way to create user engagement, but also from an SEO perspective, it tells Google your most important pages, which is the ones in your navigation. So you could see some of the articles we wrote here, how to find a good paid media marketing company. In that article, we could talk about paid media marketing companies and then link back to our main paid media pages. And that's a good way to build internal authority, because the more internal links you have pointing back to your main pages, that's going to give Google and other search engines a sense of priority, and tell them what are the main pages on your website that you want to rank for and show up the highest in search results. Same with how to do SEO. That article, we could take that article, talk about SEO, but also link back to some of our SEO pages and build that internal authority to some of our main SEO pages, which are SEO services. And that's what we want more people to come in to our website on, so we could service our clients and give them our SEO services. And then I saved this point last, but it's the 8th point, and that's adding local structured data, because this is more of a technical SEO tactic, and it does require you to edit the source code of your website. So if you have a developer who created your website or just need help with it, you could always reach out to a company like LSEO or even somebody that you may know personally that has experience with editing a website or the code of a website. But that's adding local structured data. And what this does is it allows your website, or it tells search engines about your website, and it tells them specifically more about your business, just like we talked about in the beginning with optimizing your profiles. This is just a way for Google to pull it straight from your website and not have to worry about doing that from a Google My Business profile. And what it can do is spice up your search results with things like your logo, your address, your phone number, your hours of operation. And like I said, some users just don't go through the map pack to find a business. They go straight to the organic results. And that's what this local schema markup or structured data is going to do, is it's going to spice up your organic results. It could pull in star ratings, your phone number, which they could click right from the search result, maybe your hours of operation so they know when to call, your logo. And what that does is really it draws eyes to your listing versus competitors, because something with a star rating sticks out more than a organic listing without a star rating. And a good example of that is when you're shopping for things. An example is, let's say you're looking for running shoes. Some results that might pop up are Nike, Amazon, maybe Foot Locker. And let's just say Amazon, because I know they have this set up, but they'll pull in the price. Are the shoes in stock, out of stock? And then also the star ratings based on reviews from customers. And let's say Foot Locker or Nike doesn't have that set up on their website, or doesn't have the schema markup on their website. Well, all that's doing is drawing more eyes or attention to the Amazon listing, which will probably, or is more likely to gain the click versus, say, a Nike or a Foot Locker. So adding structured data can really set you apart from your competitors, and again, allow you to pull different snippets or rich data into your search results. And I say rich because it makes your result more rich, just like I said with the star ratings, the price, the phone number, and that is going to get the attraction. So that's it. I'm going to give everyone an opportunity, if there are any questions, to put them in the chat. We'll stick around here for a few minutes. While you're doing that, and I'll do my best to answer your questions here on webinar here live. But if there are any further questions or help, I have 2 emails listed here, and everyone will receive a copy of this deck after the webinar. We have your emails, we'll send them and we'll ship it out to you so you have this at your disposal. But for any further questions, feel free to email kyle@lseo.com or jeff.kimmel@lseo.com. And then one other thing I wanted to remind you all of is don't forget your free SEO assessment. So as part of doing this webinar and for you signing up, we did offer a free SEO assessment that we typically charge, and it's a mini audit, but we typically charge clients $2,500 for. So just for signing up for this, you do get that for free. So you should have gotten a copy of a email from Jeff Kimmel that asked you to fill out this information that we could present you with this free SEO assessment. So please find that in your email, fill that out, and we'll be able to ship you this free SEO assessment just for signing up for this webinar. So let me just check something here. Yep, Pat will give you a copy of the PowerPoint, not a problem. And so Brian asked, how important is site speed to SEO? Page speed insights. It appears that LSEO has a low score, but has pretty good rankings. Pat, Brian, I would say it is important, trust me, but I wouldn't be too thrown off from it. So Google Page Speed Insights offers a score based on what they're seeing with the source code and your tagging and all of the different elements on your website. And we know that a lot of websites are built on things like WordPress and Shopify that come with a lot of themes, and some of those themes could be really bulky. But just making sure, and one suggestion I have to you, Brian, is check out a tool called GTmetrix. We like to use that a little bit more than Google PageSpeed Insights, just because it does tell you things like how fast your site's loading, and what's the time to first interaction. And what that's going to do is it really allow you to see if you need to optimize for page speed. So one thing, like you said, it might show a low score on Google PageSpeed Insights, but we know from GTmetrix that our site's loading in under 10 seconds. And that's fairly fast. So we know that users have the opportunity, once they type in lseo.com or come to our site from an organic listing, that our site is painting pretty fast on their screen. That means they shouldn't bounce. But to further your point, it is important. So if you realize running it through GTmetrix, and one other tip I was going to say is check out your Google Analytics if you have that set up, and look at things like bounce rate on pages. Is your bounce rate particularly high? That may mean that your site's not loading fast enough and people are just hitting the back button or the X before your site even gets a chance to load. So it is important, but I would say get a little bit more granular with it, because like you said, our site's ranking pretty well. So we know that the way our site's loading in under 10 seconds, and then based on some of our bounce rates in Google Analytics, that we're doing a good enough job to paint our site as fast as possible in front of a user. But Google does factor that into their algorithm a little bit. Again, they don't tell us or come out and specifically say what's part of their algorithm. Obviously, we know the 2 most important things are content and links. But all the other stuff is kind of just jumbled together, and we don't know in what priority order it sits. But they do say page speed is in there. So take a look at GTmetrix, take a look at things like analytics, and look at some of your bounce rates. Look at how fast your site's loading or painting on someone's screen, and that'll really give you the assessment to see if you need some further attention there. All right, those were the only 2 questions we have. I'll give everyone another minute if anyone has any other questions to pop them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them. So just hang tight here and we'll see if we get any more. All right, I'm not seeing any more come through. So, like I said, if anyone has any further questions, those emails are here. Again, we're going to ship a copy of this presentation to you. But if that's it, thank you all for joining, taking your time out of your day to join us for this webinar. I hope you learned some things and got some knowledge from it. And if you need any help, LSEO is always here to help. So please reach out. And like I said, don't forget that free assessment. Go find that email from Jeff Kimmel, fill out that survey, and we'll get you your free SEO assessment. Thanks, everyone.